Green screen keying in After Effects using key light. Now, we have a green screen footage, all right, that I have chosen that is coming from a stock footage company. So this is stock footage. This is not our project, but it has wonderful characteristics. It has as many mistakes as I could find. So this video has 5 mistakes. Now, you could find more mistakes somewhere else, but then we're talking about a minimum below which we should not go. Now, the only next mistake is going to be your background with wrinkles and holes, probably, or something like that. But this one has 5 mistakes that we would like to quickly talk about. Number 1, no tracking markers. Well, you just move the camera and you've lost it. Match moving is going to be impossible. You need tracking markers. The only 2 exceptions are when you are using the robot, the motion tracking robot. That in that case, in a big studio, right, in a big green screen studio with the robot that is operating the camera, you do not need to have the tracking markers for the simple reason that it does not need them. It is syncing the motion of the camera with the 3D package immediately. Actually, why do you need tracking markers? To do the match moving, to export the 3D camera solve, so that you can import it to 3D package. That robot, not the robot actually, it's the software behind, that is connected to that, takes care of that. So this is one exception. The second exception is the camera is frozen, it's not going to move. But if you decide midway during filming that you're going to move the camera and you don't have your tracking markers and you forget to put them there, then your match moving becomes impossible and your shot is kind of lost. So this is about the first mistake. Second mistake is the lighting is very, very poor. We have here light greens, middle greens, dark greens, and it seems like they are only using one light. You see here on the right and on the left, there doesn't seem to be any lights because this is darker, and they're just using something from the ceiling. This is absolutely not usable. So, which as a result makes mistake number 2 is the uneven lighting of the green screen. Mistake number 3 is the lighting for the actors is not appropriate, it's not independent, it's not separate, because when you have green screen, light for green screen is different than light for, like, as in the panels you're going to use, they're not the same ones. So I'm not saying different, all I'm saying is the lights that you're going to put for your green screen are for the green screen only. The lights that you're going to put for your actors are meant for the actors. That's what I mean, meant for the green screen and meant for the actors. This takes us to the mistake number, I don't remember which was it, number 4 now? Number 4. Mistake number 4 is, because they're so close to the green screen, of course they couldn't have separate lights, but this is the mistake itself. They are too close to the green screen. You need to be meters away, and that depends as well on how big your green screen is. The mistake number 4 is something you can't see immediately, but something that we will talk about later when we'll see some, we'll see some pixelizations. The compression. This file is H.264. It's as bad as it could get. When you're working on visual effects, when you're working on green screen, compositing, keying, you want the best color information. You want the best video quality. That means starting with RAW. You can't get RAW, fine. Go down to ProRes, some high quality. You can't get that, fine. Go down until you reach the minimum of 4 to 10 bits. Don't go any lower than 4 to 10 bits, okay? Any lower than that, you're begging for trouble. So what have I done? I've just chosen a catastrophic video to work with. Why? Because I could have chosen a raw footage and everybody's life is going to be easy, but that is not what I want to teach you. I want to teach you how you can handle and address and approach mistakes. Now, this is not an excuse for mediocre quality production and filming, okay? It's not an excuse for mediocre quality video. It's not an excuse for having rubbish lighting or for having rubbish green screen or having reflection all over the place or getting your actors too close to the green screen background. So yes, I'm taking the worst case scenario within certain limits. There are limits to what is acceptable, what is not. But yeah, this is the reason why I'm taking this. Okay, we close this bracket about the mistakes and we go now to the key light. Let's see here. You see that I've already typed here key light because that's what we're going to use. After Effects is known for key light. Cool. And it's a very, very, very good keyer, by the way. You can find it again in nuke, and it's used in nuke, and it handles details very well. Okay, now, when we type in keylight in the effects here on the right, we find two options. The first one is just keylight, like just keylight. And the second one here on top is keylight plus, it seems like it's got a lot of stuff in there. Let's have a look. Okay, we're just going to have a look at that and talk about it, that's all. I'm going to drop that and see, what do I have here? I have keylight, key cleaner, advanced speed suppressor. Well, this seems like a group of effects that come together and wants to make our life easier. I want to believe that, but I find it difficult. Why? Because keying green screen happens one step at a time. You want one effect at a time, and within that effect, you want to tweak one parameter at a time. So bringing keylight plus key cleaner plus advanced suppressor is illusion. That is an illusion of, it's like you think, yeah, I got the magic pill. This is not the magic pill. You know, this is what's going to keep you, the others are already done, and you're still wondering, why is it not working? Well, because you've got too many parameters switched on. And we can already notice that when we bring them in, by default, advanced speed suppressor is already desactivated. So it's kind of Adobe's approach of saying, oh, you know what, probably you don't want to activate everything. We agree. Adobe, we definitely agree. We're not going to activate anything at all, actually. We'll just delete everything. We're going to work with keylight. And we're going to work with all of them, but then step by step. Okay? Not in that sequence. There's going to be some other effects that we're going to bring in. And not in the sequence that they are suggesting, okay? So, number one, we're bringing keylight. Now, hold on a moment. Do we need one keyer? Or do we need two keyers? Or three keyers? Or more? Why am I talking about more keyers? Is it not enough? Is one not enough? If you are going to make your keying with one keyer, you are asking too much. He is going to do the work, that is absolutely certain, because that's what the effect is here for. But you are asking too much, and you're going to push him to his limits, and he's going to come back and bite you. Why? Because you have asked him to take everything. And when he takes everything, it's going to hurt your edges, because you have green spill on your edges. Now, green spill has two sides to it. The good side and the bad side. The good side is that, well, not really there's the bad side and the bad side, but there are two sides to it. The first one is the edges. You find green spill on the edges, that means that those edges, you need to be careful. We need to keep them. The edge, I mean, the hair detail, literally just the edges of the mat. We need to keep them. I'm talking about the mat, not the color. Yes, there's green spill, but it is on the edges. And the second aspect to it is the green spill, as in the color that needs to be removed. But when you are asking from one keyer to do all the work, this is what you're asking really. Especially when you have something like this, in even lighting. And you are going to have, even if it's the most professional film set that you could think of, like, say, for example, take The Martian. Film The Martian. Just Google green screen set, film The Martian, and you look at that. You are going to find different greens. I'm not saying different lighting. I'm even saying different greens being used. Well, the wall, like just to isolate the land, to make it look like Mars, and then isolate the land. It's a studio, but isolate the land and to be able to use that for the space, that's one green. But when we see one of his shots where the camera is looking up to him, the panel that is used up behind his head is of a different color. Well, it's green, but it's a different green. All I'm saying, why am I talking about this, is because you are going to have different variations of green sometimes, and that's absolutely fine. Do you know why? Because these guys work with nuke. And okay, it's not about nuke, it's about the keyer. It's not even about the keyer, it's about the method, because keylight is a color picker approach, and nuke, natron, and fusion have another method which is called, I'm not saying they only have that method, they have the color picker method, which basically just click and then select a green and then starts increasing the variation. That's one method. Another method is IBK, image-based keying. That's how it's famous from nuke. You find it back stronger in natron. You find it back in fusion, in plain English. And fusion, it's called clean plate plus delta key. plus delta keyer. In Natron, it's called pick color plus pick. In Nuke, it is called what? It's called IBK color, IBK gizmo. It's a duo. This is why these people can get away with as many greens as they have, because they don't work with one color. They work with the clean plate. After Effects, Keylight works with color picker, so we are going to work with the color picker approach now. Okay, good. All right. I find it useful to open some brackets to just give you more than just clicking a few parameters. Okay, so now let's go back and say, if you ask from Keylight one keyer to do all of the stuff, you're going to select this dark green or this light green, or it's a color picker approach, which basically means if you select the light greens, it's not going to include the darks. But if you're going to select the darks, it's going to include the lights. But it's going to include as well the greens that you find on the person's clothes and effects and props and everything. In your foreground that you want to keep, you're going to find the dark greens. That's what you're going to find lighter greens on the reflective object, but you're going to find the darker greens on the spill on the black suit, for example. It's in there. You just can't see it clearly, but it's in there. Now, what happens when you ask from Keylight to take the light one, all of these values at once, just one keyer? Well, it's going to take everything at once, including what you have inside here, which is going to hurt. So you have some green spill around the edges, it's going to hurt the edges, it's going to hurt the mat, and it's going to be horrible for the keyer, horrible for you, horrible for the result, and you're just begging for trouble. So give yourself the luxury of having more than one keyer, because guess what? You don't pay for that. You already have it. So when you have one keyer and you bring in a second keyer, okay, they're going to do two different things. Okay, they are going to do two different things. But for now, I'm going to disable this one. All right. Oh, you know what? Let's remove it. Remove it. Just the idea that we're going to use two, and then we're going to bring in the second one. Now, the first one, as you can notice, even if you work in Nuke, in Fusion, in Natron, in any other compositing software, the approach is always the same. We are heading towards the final destination, and every one of those, it's like the Olympics, you know, the Olympic Games where you have runners, they run and they hold something, torch or something, and then they need to pass it to the next one. And the next one is going to take it and then start running. It's exactly the same thing. That's what's going on in here with the two keylights. Now, this one is going to take some information. It's not the final destination. It's some information and give it to the second one. This is why the approach for the first keylight is going to be different than the one for the second one. Okay, because the first one has an objective. It needs to reduce the number of greens. Now, this now takes us to talking about reducing the number of greens, the variations of green. Generally, we do something called a garbage mat. Okay, but a garbage mat, how do we do that? There are three ways I'd like to address with you, and I'll leave the choice up to you, but I'm going to recommend one. Okay, so garbage mats are done with three ways. The first one, which is commonly known, is you're going to pick the pen tool. Let me just come here and reduce this just a bit. You pick the pen tool and you say, okay, the motion of the actors, if I just go through your video and the motion of the actors stops somewhere here. Okay, nice. I'm going to just remove this and do like this and we're done. Cool. So this takes away the greens that are not needed because the actors don't get any close to that, and that green is just there to complicate the keyer's life, especially that the corners tend to be darker. Well, when it's a lighting that is rubbish like this, okay? When it's even, it's a different story, but still, even when it's even, you want to reduce the number of greens that the keyer has to deal with. This is one approach. Well, this is something we may use, but what I'm suggesting is something different, okay? Let me just remove this stuff, okay? What I'm suggesting is, okay, not suggesting. Well, let me show you the second one, and I'm going to suggest the third one. The second way of doing it is embedded in Keylight. So you come here down and say source crops. Now this is, well, it's not as good as your pen tool, but it may very well work depending on the situation. If that's what works for you, then it works for you. Edge, you've got the left, the right, the top, and the bottom. This is source crops, so you're going to crop. Say, for example, this is this part we don't need. This part we don't need, and the top one, I always go off board with the top one. Oh, that's nice. That's okay. Okay. This one I don't need. Okay. This is another way of doing it. It comes as a square. Fine. You could animate it You can animate it, just clicking on this stuff and then animate it based on their movement. Fine, you can do that. This is another option. You may want to use it, you may not want to use it, but it's there for you. Okay, so this is another one. The third one, with the one I'm going to recommend, and you could make any combination of these if you feel like it. The other one that I want to recommend is that I'm going to use keylight as a garbage mat, and then use the second keylight as a keyer. This one, the soul. Oh, sorry. Did I should reset this one. Yeah, let's reset. Cool. Okay. The idea now is that I'm going to use the keyer capabilities to create a garbage mat, and the garbage mat is going to be exactly around our characters, our actors. Okay, so it's going to be something like this. Let me show you how we do that. Okay, number one, I am going to create another. Let me just click on sorry, and we're going to double click like this. Okay, you double click on your footage down here, and then it may open on the in the same tab. So you could have two tabs. Sorry, you could have it here. Just drag it and put it on the right, because I've already done it. That's why it remembers the default. Green screen keying requires two viewers. Whether you're in Natron, whether you're in Nuke, in Fusion, in wherever you are, it needs two screens. Sorry, two viewers. Okay, well, if you've got two screens, it's better, but you need two viewers. And this one is the layer. This one is the composition. Now, we're going to work on both of them at the same time, looking at one, choosing from another one, and this is how we're going to do it. But for now, the layer, please make sure that you are always one step behind for the layer. What does one step behind mean? Okay, view, it shows you here everything that we've done so far. There's anchor points path. Generally, you want to be one step behind. So I've used key lights. Now I want to be with using anchor point path. And this one, we keep it as is. All right, so what do? We're just going to go to key light here and select a color. And you think, well, hold on a moment. Is it that simple? The information about the colors, like what color you're going to pick, is going to make a difference. This is why the approach you're going to take is slightly different. So let's come here. For picking the color, I'm going to select something, but the choice itself is going to depend on some other things. Of course, number one, view is you change to intermediate result, just so that you don't forget it. Just to get in the habit of changing to intermediate result. Because what? Because when you're keying, you're working on the alpha, right? And final result works on the colors as well. I want to work only on the alpha, and that's what intermediate result does. Okay, so intermediate result, and I come here and select my color. How do I do that? I click on the color picker and I think, oh, that's actually quite easy. Why is he explaining this? You go to the layer, you press on Alt. I haven't even clicked with the mouse. I just pressed on Alt. See, and you're able to move with the mouse and select the green that you need. This looks like it's clean. Well, guess what? I'm going to click there. Hold on a moment. I'll explain. But now, as we said, key in the green screen is all about the alpha. Now, can you see an alpha? No, because we need to get the alpha. So we don't work with the colors. We work with the alpha. So I need to change to see the alpha here. There are two ways, and it's up to you. I'm going to give you the options, and then you choose which one works best for you, or which ones you feel like it to take. So view, there's screen mat. Well, this one is quite traditional. Yeah, you just click there and you see the screen mat and you keep working. Fine. But this screen mat is only for the effect that you have. It's only inside Keylight. If you want to see the screen mat for all the effects once we've done, because we're going to have quite a few. What you could do is go back to intermediate result and come down here to show channel or color management settings, and you select alpha. This is another way. I leave it up to you. Okay, I'm going to use the second one, but it's okay, up to, because now we only have one effect. So you could go with the screen mat here, and we're also going to be using the statues as well, but that's not for now. Cool. What do we have now? The selection of the green, just for you to know, when you select light greens, they do not include dark greens. When you select dark greens, they include light greens. Or if we say it differently, if you select saturated greens, so light greens, saturated greens. They do not include dark greens, unsaturated dark greens. Oh, sorry, unsaturated greens. So if you take saturated, it doesn't include unsaturated. But if you take unsaturated, it does include saturated. Okay? Okay, why am I saying this? Because it has an impact on how clean your black is going to be. Sorry. And it's going to have an impact on the edges. So the cleaner the black, the more you hurt your edges. But you know what? Let's see now how we're going to do that, because the purpose of key light now, key light number 1, is not to key. It's just to give us a wonderful garbage mat. That's all. A very tight one. A very tight garbage mat. So I'm going to go with this one. So okay, I've just selected this. I could go drastic actually on this stuff. I could do it, yeah. Let's. What I could do is go very drastic, which basically means select the darkest, the darkest green I have, which is somewhere here. Now, remember, we did not create with the pen tool. We did not create the what do you call that? The garbage mat with the pen tool. We're creating it now. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm not hurting my edges, and just select something that is almost clean or clean. Okay, almost clean. Okay, and then I come here to other parameters. Screen gain, just do yourself a big favor, stay away from this one. Stay away from this one, because this is, how can I say that? It is clip black. It's an aggressive clip black. So you'd rather use clip black, because clip black gives you the option to make a U-turn, and screen gain does not give you an option to make a U-turn. Okay, so you can cancel the work of clip black, but you can't cancel the work of screen gain. Screen gain basically just cleans the black and it looks like, whoa, that's wonderful, it's all clean. Yes, you've just hurt your edges and you don't know. Okay, so screen gain, you can go up to 103, 105. Don't go any higher, please. Okay, I can do that. Just so that we keep in mind that it's not using it, because if it's there, but it's not exaggerating it. Okay, right. Screen balance is basically changing the kind of screen you have. If you have yellowish, you're going to tend to push it to the right. If you got bluish, I'm talking about the green screen background. If it's bluish, then you push it to the left. But we have just selected our color. We're fine with that. Fine. We're going to move now to, do we need screen pre-blur? I don't think we do. But just since we're talking about the blur, there are 2 parameters, and I wish they have named them properly, because screen pre-blur actually is blur pre-keying. Okay, pre-keying blur. You get blur before you start keying. Okay, and there's another one. It should be somewhere here. Screen softness. This is exactly this one, but after keying. So I would have wished to have this one called pre-keying blur, and this one, screen softness, is post-keying blur. That's what they actually really are. All right, and we come down to the screen matte and start working on the clip black and the clip white. It's the traditional route of work of cleaning your blacks and cleaning your whites. So what does it mean, cleaning your whites and cleaning your blacks? Okay, I'm going to explain these 2. And I want you to understand what happens in the background, instead of just saying, okay, yeah, let's just reduce this one. Let's just reduce it. Yeah, it's gone. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to do it, but at the same time understand what's going on in the background and what is actually the impact. Let me disable this. I'm just put it back to what it was. I'm going to change to another green, which has a bit more noise, to explain these 2, because this clip black and clip white, you are going to be used them more than anything else. Let me click on this, press Alt, and I'm going to choose what? Something like this. Just to explain. This one is just to explain these 2. Right. I'm going to explain them with another effect. I'm going to tell you what is really happening. It's exactly the same mathematics, same algorithm behind. I'm going to go to curves. Now, you don't need to do that. It's just explanation. To curves, and I'm bringing this. Now, curves you don't add to your green screen work. Okay. See, every time you add something, it updates here, view. Now, I need to go back to my anchor point. Okay. Yes, I know we should go one step behind, but curves is not here for our work. It's just here for explanation purposes. Right. Curves has RGB, but has also alpha. We're working on the alpha, right? Let's go to alpha. What is this? This is black. This is 0. What is this? This is white. This is 1. Okay, let's come back. Clip black, 0. Clip white, well, they say 100. The accurate number is 1 because 0 is 1 and 1, I'm sorry, 0 is black and 1 is white. And it's important to understand that there are values between 0 and 1. And these values are not white and they're not black. They're what? They are gray. And there are different values of gray. Let's come back to our curves. Now, if this is 0. If I start increasing from 0, I am asking After Effects, I'm asking Keylight to convert the pixels that have a value as I decide here. So this is now 0, this is 1, but you have, see here, this stuff in here, this is not 0, and this is not 1. This is like, I don't know, probably 0 0.7, 0 0.8. And this one here is probably 0 0.2, 0 0.1. And when you increase this, you are moving from 0 to, say, for example, 0 0.25, something like this. What have I just done? Well, I have just asked Keylight to convert the pixels up to 0 0.25 to 0. Between 0 and 0 0.25, make them 0, make them black. That's actually what is happening in the background of cleaning it. So what does that mean? Those values, yes, you're going to find them everywhere in the black, but you are going to find them in the edges as well, right? And sometimes you need some transparency around the hair. And when you start increasing this too much, well, it's got this, you can see some gray here. If I start increasing this, see, you may be able to see that level of detail, but I'm removing some of his hair. That is the nasty impact of, let's go back, of exaggerating where is it? Where is my fellow here? Screen mat. Of exaggerating clip black, although they do exactly this, about the same thing. Screen gain is about the same thing as clip black, but this one is more aggressive. This one, once you do it, you can't go back. You can go back if you reset it, but I can get away with high values of clip black, by using another parameter. But that's something we're going to use in the second keyer, not now. I'm not explaining it in the second keyer. Cool. This is what happens when you do it with the black, and same story with the white. When you come here, this is number 1. Okay, let's go back to something that's reasonable. Something like here. Okay. And then this is 1. Now, when I move this, I'm saying the value 0.9, 0.8, 0.75, make them 1. So the values of gray that are closer to 1, 0.9, 0.7, make them 1. Okay, this is what actually is happening in the background. This is exactly the effect of clip white, clip black. All right, and this is what we're aiming for. We're aiming for something that is clean. Cool. Let's remove these curves because this was only for explanation purposes, and go back to our clip black, clip white. Where is it? Screen mat. Okay. Now I'm going to go and select again a color, something like this. Yeah. I tend to prefer to have some noise instead of, because it keeps some details in the edges. Although, yeah, we may not care much this time, but you know what? Let's just keep something. The objective, we're not keying. I'm just, remember, key light number 1 is not making the key in for the compositing. It's just creating the garbage mat. All of this just for the garbage mat. Well, I'm taking time to explain, but once you're going to do it yourself, it's going to take you a few seconds. You just create the garbage mat and move on. All right, so I'm going now to clean a little bit the blacks. Okay, we don't have any issue here. There is a way to see if we have really cleaned the black, which is basically come back and select status. And when I select status, remember, I need to go back to RGB because I had alpha selected on this side. I then can see if it's clean or not. Let's go back. See, there's a pixel here. There's a pixel here. So status does give you more information. You may want to switch just to see if your cleaning has worked. That's it. Okay, and then go back to my to your screen mat if you want. Yeah, let's do it for fun. Let's for fun change to screen mat here and instead of doing it here. Okay. And then we move now to clip white. Clip white is going to do the same thing, converting the values of gray that are closer to 1, and that's kind of it. You can exaggerate a bit. It's a choice, because guess what? I want to have a clean black and a clip white. Now this is very drastic, but guess what? Key light number 1 is not a problem. The first one is not a problem. Let's come back now to our intermediate result. What do I see? Whoa, I see some ugly edges here and stuff. Yes, we're not keying, we're just creating a garbage mat. What is that garbage mat? You see, when we have, and I've done it on purpose to exaggerate the clip whites. Why? Because when you exaggerate the clip whites, you cover your mat and you go beyond. You go off-board. This is going off-board. And I want to go off-board. The objective of key light is to go off-board. And because using the clip whites is not enough, I'm going to do it with something else. I come here. I'm going to use, where was that? Screen, shrink, and grow, which is basically mat. If you're working in nuke, it's going to be dilate and erode. Same thing for fusion, same thing for neutron. Yeah. So it's dilate and grow and erode. So grow, shrink. Actually, it's more English. It's clearer in After Effects. Shrink and grow. We're going to shrink the mat or grow the mat, which is exactly the same effect as mat choker. You see this mat choker over here? It does just one side of it. It just does the shrink. Okay. So what does it do? Well, let's see. If you increase it, it gives us more edges around our real edges. But if you shrink it, you're going to start taking away from your character, from your actors. Okay, let's now increase this a bit. Now, this is the objective of key light number 1, which is to create this. This is a garbage mat, different than the one that you would do with the pen tool. Why? Because now you have the green, and the second keyer that's going to come, it's only going to work on this green over here. Is this enough? Yeah, I think enough. I can increase a little bit, but I mean, the more you increase, let me see, is this? Yeah, that's nice actually. It's okay. I mean, I'll leave it up to you. It depends on your footage, but I think this is kind of enough. Now, what have we just done? This is our garbage mat. So as they move, it just keeps moving with them because it's automatically keyed with them, right? Because it's our mat that we have chosen, and we have grown the mat, right? Have we finished working with this one? Yes, we have finished working with this one, and the objective is to give this mat to the second one. Now, I'm gonna bring the second key light, and here we will start working on the real key. And let me go back here. Okay, I just need to make sure always I'm one step behind, because I'm gonna select here, it's the same thing. I'm going to select the green from here, but I need to be on one step behind. So I'm going to need to take it from this effect. All right, same story. Now you get it. You just come here, intermediate result. Yeah, and then you click on this stuff and you press Alt without even clicking, and you get something pretty okay. But then guess what? We shouldn't be working on this. Should be working on the mat, screen mat. So on the alpha, should we do it this one or this way? Yeah. Let's let's do it this way. Alpha. Okay. Now, what do I need? Well, it seems like I haven't done a great job, because now I'm not dealing. We don't even need to look here. This part here is black. This is coming from the first one. I'm only worried about this part. So the keying wasn't done properly for the black. I'm okay. I'm okay with that, because I may be worried about my edges, but I still want to have a value of green that gives me most of the black. I'm not saying all of it, because that's going to be, again, drastic, but most of it. So I'm going to go back again and select select a value, something like this, without getting too close. Be careful. If you get too close to the person or the object, you may actually be standing on the object itself and feel it's okay. It's like, yeah, that's black. You know what I'm doing now? I'm standing on the reflective object, and that green is on the object. So I just need to be way something like this, probably here. Yeah, this sounds like a good spot. But guess what? Let me get closer and we see better what we're doing. We come back again. Sorry. And yes, when we select this, it gives us a much better. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Okay, why? I've gotten enough green removed. You know this part. What is this? This additional stuff that we have here. This is not the normal green. This is the mistake that we have talked about, that these guys are standing so close to the background, that to the green screen background, that the shadows are on, their shadows are on the background. So these are their shadows. So this darker green was not even on the background. It came from the actors standing there. Okay, I'm not going to push my gear too far in the first step to take this one as well. It's fine to take most of this, and I'm okay with that. Yes, here you see there are no shadows, because shadows are coming from the light above, and it's somewhere down here. Cool. It's tempting to want to have a perfect black from the beginning with your selection, and we've all gone through that temptation, but please resist that temptation, because you're hurting your edges. In the second one, yes, we have reduced our greens, the greens we're going to select, but we need to make sure that the edges are not hurt. Edges not hurt means work slowly with the clip black and with another magical parameter that I'm going to explain. So let's work with that. Let's come here and clip black. Not clip white, clip black. Clip black, you know what it does now. So just a little bit up till the moment the last pixel is gone and we stop. That's all we need. The last pixel goes away. That's it. Now, clip white, we're going to need it. We're going to need this one, because although we have removed, see, we had a clean white. So why is it now that it has transparency? We got a clean matte from this first keyer. But because this one was also asked to remove some green, the same green that is on the clothes. And again, the same work, okay? But here, we already know what we should be doing. Reduce the whites, and we should be kind of okay. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something really cool, because I want to show you, let me come back here to the RGB. Again, we have gone off board. But that is fine. Why? Because I have the possibility to roll back. And this is the magic trick, to roll back. So when I increase this, let me increase it, let me exaggerate, especially when we work. Okay, what you could possibly do, let me reset this to 0. Let me explain, because this is really, really nice. I'm going to reset. Clip black to 0, clip white to 100, which is actually 1. And clip roll back, we close it. Okay, let's come back. What you could do is come back here, alpha, okay, select a drastic one. That's, again, another option. Select a drastic one, something like this, okay, and then which gives you a really nice black. You could do that. This is another way of doing it. A really nice black everywhere. Good. Let's just check. Yeah, nice black everywhere. Now, what have we just done? We've heard the edges, but we're going to come back here and exaggerate the white black. Sorry, the white clip, the clip white. I just like this, exaggerate it a bit. Okay, right. When I do now, when I come back to the color, RGB, what do I see? Because I have exaggerated, I've gone off board with the matte. Let's come back here and roll back. What am I doing? I'm canceling. But starting from where? Starting from the edges. Now, the beauty of rollback is that it does not work on it doesn't work everywhere. It starts from the edges. So this is the starting point here. It starts canceling from here. So when I cancel from here, what's going to happen? I'm going to remove the exaggeration. Okay, I roll back the effect, but what do I have? I have a really clean and solid alpha. Yes, when I rolled back, I found some transparency here. Well, guess what? The edges, then we can now tweak them, something like this, but always keeping in mind the RGB values. And just a little bit like this, and take away. Now, there's another way, which is now if instead of rolling back too much and starting hurting your alpha inside, because now what's going to happen is that inside here I've got some problems. Rollback is a noise trick, but you just want to use it sparingly. Why? Because first part, yes, okay, now it works. Now it works. Now this additional part that I have here, I'm going to use our screen shrink and grow, and this one I'm going in the opposite direction slowly. That's it. That is it. Just a tiny little bit. What happened? Okay, now we have perfect edges. Why am I saying perfect? Because we've worked from inside out, and then we brought back our exaggerated work. So you've covered the edges and you've gone back out and you've exaggerated it so much, which is fine. That's a choice. We've made a choice that you needed two tools to go back. The first one is to roll back, and because roll back is only going to allow you to roll back that much, you're going to use shrink as well. So roll back plus shrink, it takes a few tweaking to get something that looks cool. Now, this is great. Okay, this is great result for rubbish quality video. This is H.264 compressed video. Okay, we have done our keying now, but what is yet to be done? Okay, there are a few parameters here. The idea is not to explain all the parameters, what they do, what they don't, and you've got the screen spot black. You should not need this by now. If you do this I'm showing you a technique that once you do it, you don't need a lot of other parameters. Have we worked with display bias, alpha bias? We haven't worked with that stuff. Why? You don't need them. I'm showing you a route that works with key parameters that you need, and some magic ones. I'm calling them magic ones because they help you do whatever you want and cancel that, like the rollback, clip rollback. You don't need screen spot black. You don't need screen spot white. This, in case you have, okay, let me explain. You shouldn't need this, but in case you have some black dots inside your mat, then you're going to screen spot the white, which basically means that if you find a value of gray, if you find 0.9 surrounded by ones, then make it 1. That's kind of closing the holes. And same story here, screen spot black if you have a dot somewhere here, but then our approach, it's impossible for us to have that because we've just garbage matted using key light. So it's impossible to have a dot here because it's impossible to have it. The math is just here, see? This is the math. Now, if you still have it, if you still have like a dot somewhere here, okay, I mean, you shouldn't, but you could use screen spot black, which basically means if you find a 0.1, 0.2 surrounded by zeros, then make it 0. Kind of, something like that. But I've shown you the route that is going to make you use the least parameters, just the key ones. You don't need to start playing with everything. But yes, we have finished one part. The matte part, we finished it. We haven't finished the color part because look at this. Let me get closer. Hopefully we're going to have some problems here. Yeah, okay. Now what do I have? When you are keying, yeah, probably I can see it here better. Yeah, if I bring these two together, actually because it's rubbish quality, it's equally bad. Because it's H.264 compressed footage, it's equally bad. But anyway, keying a compressed footage is basically taking color information, working on the greens on a video that has poor color information. So you can end up with some trouble, with some problems. Generally, you're going to find that inside the mat. So you can have, for example, let me just try to find a place where you are. Yeah, it's kind of equally bad, but you know what? Okay. But this step that is coming is compulsory. You need to do that. Although we can't see it properly because it's equally bad. It would have worked actually in this case if I brought not a raw footage, but a little bit. Probably with a 422 10-bit, it could work, though 422 has enough information. What happens is that the information, the color that you get in here has been kind of impacted, let's say impacted, and you always want to get back the original colors. This stuff that you see here, that's what I want to have, not this one in here. So I go to replace method and get me source. Okay, you get me the source here. So you're using source color. Okay, so now that we have used the source, we've worked on the matte, we've worked on the colors. Let me just fit this one. Let's fit and fit. Which key light is this one? This is, okay, we're one step behind. That's good. On this one, we're done with what? With the matte. We're done with. Oh, I need to have my background, by the way. That's going to help a lot for this part. Let me see, project. Yeah, sorry. And now I bring in the background. Okay, now why am I bringing the background? Because we've finished the keying part. We have finished taking care of the color part. Now, okay, we haven't finished dispelling. We still have a lot to be done. Okay, we still have a lot to be done because we have some stuff here. Yeah, we've got to work on a bit more on the edges and everything. Okay, I'm bringing the background just so that you see it, and then we remove this and start working on our effects. Now, do you remember that combination we have said no to in the beginning? This skill, key light, speed suppressor, and everything. Now we're gonna bring some of those effects.